while we're on the subject of Tucker Carlson, he is under just an insane amount of pressure right now over his Fuentes interview, over his podcast, and it's getting like truly crazy. It's really getting crazy. And you pointed out this article in the New York Times, which hit Saturday, entitled J.D. Vance is idling at the edges of American politics. And you wrote this. Very shortly, you're going to hear this from Democrats in the media. Look, I had disagreements with Trump, but he kept the crazies on the fringes. The really dangerous extremist is J.D. Vance. Trump, by comparison, is a responsible patriot. That's the Bush-Cheney trajectory. And you tweeted out this article. To me, I think 95% of the pressure that's raining down on Tucker right now is as a result of his close friendship with J.D. Vance, because they fear and loathe him in a particularly pointed way. And they think if they can like stank up Tucker enough, they can then transfer it onto JD, thus improving their electoral chances in 2028. Your thoughts on it?
No question, Democrats hate J.D. Vance, fear J.D. Vance, as I would too if I were a partisan Democrat. But I think it's important to note that most of the attacks on Tucker are not coming from liberals or Democrats. They are coming from factions with inside the conservative.
Yeah, the neocon right.
Exactly. And that, I mean, if it were just the, liberals and Democrats, it wouldn't matter. Tucker wouldn't even bat an eye. It wouldn't, it's when it comes from your own movement inside your own faction in your own party when it really becomes something quite notable and difficult to navigate. And here's the thing, Megyn, when Tucker was on Fox and had the highest rated show on Fox up until the day that he was fired, I don't think I ever heard a prominent conservative criticize Tucker. Probably not because they didn't disagree with him. I'm sure they did, but because he was so popular that nobody would. In fact, when Tucker was fired, I think people have forgotten this, there were a bunch of members of the Senate, Republicans in the Senate, who ran to Politico and said how happy they were that Tucker was gone because now they could more easily fund the war in Ukraine, which Tucker was a major voice in opposing. And they all did it, though, anonymously. These are members of the Senate who wanted to criticize Tucker and say how happy they were gone, but only did so anonymously. So that shows his power within the conservative movement. The only thing that has changed is that since October 7th, like a lot of people, he's begun to focus on the relationship with the United States and Israel, questioning why we give them so much money, why we pay for their wars, why we deploy our military to protect Israel in their wars, why are politicians constantly going there, why we're introducing censorship regimes and laws inside the United States to protect this foreign country. That's the only thing that's different between the Tucker of now and the Tucker of then. And so this concern and an intense campaign to destroy Tucker, and I agree absolutely by proxy to try and either get J.D. Vance to renounce Tucker or present him with the choice, renounce Tucker or be destroyed with him, is all about demanding that J.D. Vance embrace the neocon ideology in general and their love and support and loyalty to Israel in particular, because there's no other way to isolate or understand these attacks on Tucker except by reference to that.
Now, you are as good a witness as I could find on this issue. I have explained I have many Jewish friends who have questions about Tucker's coverage and whether, he's sort of turned into an anti-Semite. And I tell them all, absolutely not. I know Tucker very well, and he is not an anti-Semite. And he is not pro-Israel. He's not a big fan of Israel. And he's definitely not a fan of Netanyahu. But some of them say, well, I think it's beyond that. And I asked them all the same thing, Glenn. If you go back pre-10/7, do you remember Tucker being a leading Israel critic? Like, I remember you being an Israel critic. You're not anti-Semitic, but that was an issue that you definitely talked a lot about. Did Tucker? No, he didn't.
Never.
Tucker was, I don't know if he likes the word isolationist or not, but he was definitely sort of becoming the face of the isolationist right. And he had interviews. I remember the one he did with Viktor Orban in Hungary, and like they talked all about it. And he was constantly saying like, why would our kids have to go and fight this battle? Why are we being so bellicose about this particular issue? He was very hot against the Ukraine thing. He didn't want us to get dragged into that. That was long before 10/7. And then when 10/7 happened, he was like, I don't want to be involved in that one either. And that happened to be a very close ally that we felt was like getting us closer and closer to conflict. And then indeed actually in conflict with Iran, which Tucker was against openly. Like if Tucker really just had this thing where like he can't stand Jews or he's long hated Israel, we would know, Glenn. He would have been out there saying this stuff before 10/7. The fact that it happened after that shows you it really is about Israel for him and dovetails perfectly with his more isolationist worldview and what he wants for America first.
You know, Megyn, I am Jewish. My whole family's Jewish. I grew up Jewish. I'm steeped in Jewish culture and always have been my entire life. And Tucker and I have a very close friendship. I mean, we used to hate each other, and then our politics started aligning, and then we got to know each other as people. And I consider him a very close friend. And I'm not here as a witness to say, oh, I'm Jewish and he's not an anti-Semite. But what I am here to say is that for me, the animating experience in Tucker's life in terms of his politics and journalism was the fact that he feels like he failed in his obligations and was betrayed when he constantly went on television and advocated for the war in Iraq and for broader neoconservative war-making policy that he believes is so destructive to the United States. He believed he helped spread lies about it. It led to the deaths of many people. And he feels determined never to make that mistake again, to kind of repent for the policies that he advocated that he believes were so destructive by sharing with everybody why he came to believe that they are so destructive. Now, I used to kind of needle Tucker about the fact that, oh, look, you go on Fox every night and you talk about how wrong it is that the United States spends billions of dollars to send to Ukraine. And I totally agreed with that. I was on his show all the time talking about that. But we do the same to Israel, yet you never mention that. You never once mention Israel. Why is that? And he would just sort of say like, oh, I don't think it's as important. We don't say. So he was actively like moving away from that.
Well, my friend just lost her ring. She went to replace it. She realized it was a gold ring. The price of it has gone up like 25% since she bought the ring a year ago. That's because gold is on the march upward. And it is the one time of year that Birch Gold Group gives away free gold with every qualifying purchase. That's right, for Black Friday, when you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in gold, Birch Gold will send free gold to your home for every $20,000 purchased. Gold started this year around $2,600 an ounce. By October, it was over $4,000 an ounce. Why? Global uncertainty. 2025 has been defined by trade wars, central banks are pulling from the US dollar as the global reserve currency, and military tension continues to build. Gold thrives in times of uncertainty, and if you are looking to diversify your savings, Birch Gold can help you. Plus, now through November 30th, get free gold, I say, with a qualifying purchase. Just text MK to the number 989898 to claim your eligibility and for a free info kit on gold. But your opportunity for free gold with purchase will end on November 30th, so don't wait. Text MK to the number 989898 for full details. Message and data rates may apply. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.